everybody out there. I am back. That's right. I am your host, Jessica Koch, and this is Profound Professionals. It is the interview series that has been bringing you guests from all over the world for 9 years now. Can you believe it? We're going to have a 10-year anniversary for our show next year. I'm so excited. We bring industry experts that improve your personal life and grow your business. And today we have Jason. Jason has built 5 successful businesses. He's an author of a #1 best-selling Constructing Success Blueprints for Referral-Based Business. That book is available on Amazon or Kindle, and we want to hear all about Jason and his story today. So Jason, how did you get into this blueprint construction business that isn't quite what it sounds like?
Life is full of forks in the road, right? And so, in the 20s, it was, I started a business in telemarketing when I was 19, which led me to a big corporation with a call center that then grew me to be a vice president and learning financials, rolls over into the remodeling space. And I helped grow another business through my 30s. And then I find myself, late 30s, here I am starting all over again. And 3 guys doing labor, a bookkeeper 1 day a week, brand new business right off the ground. And I was introduced to this concept of networking. And it just seemed so easy at first. Like, you just go show up at places and people send you lots of business, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's how most people come into the networking scene. But after a little bit of training, I realized pretty quickly that I didn't know what I didn't know. That there was so much more to relationship building than just having a type A personality and being able to talk. That doesn't produce business. It doesn't necessarily enhance or deepen some of your relationships. Your behavior might actually be negatively affecting your referability with others. So, it took me a little time. It took me a lot of coaching to come to some realizations that live a giver's game lifestyle. Go out to networking, not with the intent of selling somebody something, but instead, what can I do to help? And how can I help you in growing your business and ultimately motivating you to want to help me too? And then being very specific about how somebody can help. And you're not going to find a lot of people who are going to go out and sell stuff for you. So I think you might be wasting your time if you're just trying to sell. But instead, why don't you approach it from the notion that each of these people I meet and talk to knows 500 other people that I don't know. And somewhere in that contact list, there might be one other person in a profession that is symbiotic, but not competing. And maybe we're serving the exact same target client at the exact same time. So if I can bring them to the table every time that I'm producing a transaction, could they consider bringing me to the table every time as well? And the reciprocity, that is what's going to make this relationship last potentially for a decade or more. And so it's no longer a transaction that we're out there looking for one at a time, but instead I'm investing my time into finding the person who's going to become the next revenue stream for the business. And all of my job becomes is motivation. How do I keep this person highly motivated to keep the reciprocity going? And so in my relationship building, can I incorporate some fun activities? Stop waiting until the weekend to do the things I love to do. Why not go out and play a little bit on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, but not with a frivolous waste of your time? Let's include our referral partners, the people who matter the most, and let's maybe cross-pollinate some introductions and introduce them to other people they'd benefit from knowing. Now I'm highly motivating more than one person at a time. And it's on a golf course or a fishing boat, maybe clay shooting, maybe sitting at a poker table. What are your interests? It could be manis and petties. And why not?
Hey, I love clay shooting, and I beat my husband at the last tournament that we were on. And
all right.
I'm a kayaker, man. Let's get kayaking.
I love it. We'll throw them on the back of the pontoon, chase it down the river, and there we go. And so it's the idea of how can we, do this a little smarter instead of harder. And maybe some people are spreading their network very wide and creating a lot of visibility, but are they taking the time to deepen any relationships? Are they building a top list of referral partners that they should be spending 80% of their time with, and only 20% prospecting for the people who might fill the list later. Because sometimes people move, jobs change, it might not be the relationship it used to be. So we always got to be kind of funneling some new relationships, into our network, but we really need to be spending more time taking care of and nurturing and deepening the relationships with the people who we have the most synergy with. And every industry has it. And I'm in the construction world, remodeling. So, an architect or an interior designer, we don't compete. We all bring something different to the client at the same time. But who got the phone call first? If we all work together, we got 3 times as much opportunity. But what if you were in a car wreck? You're going to need a massage therapist and a chiropractor and a personal injury attorney. If you're thinking about, gosh, what happens when I die? You might need life insurance, financial planning, estate planning, the funeral home director for the plot and the casket and the things like that. These things go together naturally. When somebody's thinking about one of them, they're thinking about all of them. What about a bride getting married? How many things does that girl need?
Yeah.
The cake and the jewelry and the honeymoon vacation and the dress, the venue, the DJ, the limo, the prenuptial agreement. Who would have thought that a lawyer and a baker had something in common, but they potentially do for the right target at the right time? And then what about when you're buying or selling a house? What if you're buying or selling a business? What about growing, expanding, or moving your business?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things you need. And so when we start to open our eyes to the relationships out there, and it takes me a lot longer to close any kind of a deal with somebody who I just met through the internet or through the home show, because I have to start by establishing that I'm a credible person. But when I get referred a potential client, a prospect, and I've come in recommended, I borrowed upon the credibility of the person who sent it my way. And if it's an industry professional sending my way, the close ratio is more than double for when I start with a raw lead. So the sheer play on time for what I invest into my relationship building up front will absolutely return to me and be rewarded in the fact that sales will rein in on me and I won't have to invest a ton of time looking for them or establishing them. And then quite frankly, as they're more trusting, they're probably going to buy more, higher average sale. I'll probably get it done more efficiently because they won't nitpick and overlook everything. So higher margins, and I'm going to have a better time with my staff who has to deal with these people if they just trust that we will get it to the finish line. Everybody will love it at the end, instead of that person who I had to convince, and now I have to keep reconvincing throughout the entire life cycle. And that's where the book goes. It's about the life cycle of a client. It's not about construction. It's about, do you have clients over a period of time? Do you see it kind of like a roller coaster ride of emotions, highs, lows? Can we start to predict what creates the lows? Can we play chess and be 2 moves ahead? This is how we can manage an experience so that at the end of the day, at the end of the project, the end of the life cycle of that client, they still have something nice to say about us and they want to tell a positive testimony.
Sure. Well, this is an amazing way to organize yourself. And I love this thinking and this concept. So what's the best way for someone who would want to work with you in this manner to reach out to you?
So again, in the construction world, and it's the Tampa Bay area, it's very regionally speaking, it's very high-end remodeling, and I have a staff of 45 people. AveryConstruction.com, you can learn more. If it's in the same region, we now have a custom cabinet factory, Designer Cabinets LLC. And so again, if it's a contractor who needs support in the region of Tampa Bay, Florida, no problem.
Wonderful.
If you need help just growing your business and understanding how to reverse engineer your financial, how to build the infrastructure of the team, how to incentivize people so that they grow the business without you, so you work on it instead of in it. That's what I do at Constructing Success. It's just Jason at construct-success.com. And I'm happy to start with just some free advice on a Zoom call, and then we can talk about where we go from there. I do some expert work for attorneys as an expert witness, as well as just helping entrepreneurs in general learn how to grow through relationships.
That is wonderful. So, how about giving everyone just one short tip? You've given us a lot of advice and great tips already, but one short, small tip that they can apply today What's something they could do today?
Start narrowing your target market. And when I first started in business, a little bit of desperation, maybe I would take any project from anyone. If you needed your toilet repaired, we would do it because we thought that when you're ready to remodel your kitchen, you'd call us back. And after years in business, we did a little review and realized that none of those people called us back. And it's because it's a different demographic. The person who's going to repair something that's broken is not the same as the demographic who says, oh, that's broken, I need a brand new one. And of course, it has to match the sink. And I've been dying to replace the tile on the floor in there anyway. And the dominoes start falling. It's two different types of clients. So the more that you bring up the bottom end, it's okay to say no. I say it in a polite way. I say, I'm not the best fit for this project. And then I make a referral to somebody who is, and I create a deposit in my relationship bank with that other provider so that maybe one day there's a withdrawal, I send something back. And in the meantime, that client had a good experience with me. So they might tell a good story instead of, being no help at all.
Wonderful.
Start narrowing your target. And the more narrow you get it, the more specific you are about what you're looking for, the clear message and clear picture you're going to paint for those referral partners who are trying to send you the right kinds of opportunities.
Absolutely. How about one of the things I love about our show, and so do our followers, they often will type, you can be doing it right now, typing in the comments and in the chat, what cause is close to your heart? Because we spread awareness, we inspire someone to give time, treasure, or talent to these different causes from all over the world. So what's a cause that you care about?
So right here on this mug, I pulled into the scene, says the Epic Avery Ranch Party. Every year we do an annual event where we create such a party that people buy tickets to come at $100 a head, and we give 100% of it to charity. So my biggest benefactor from this last year was Victor Newman Ministries, a food bank in the local area. But each year we pick a different local charity, and we've supported breast cancer, disabled children. We've supported victims of human trafficking. We've lots of great causes. One of the ones that I'm most passionate about local to the area is called the Batman of Spring Hill, and his charity is called Masked Miracles. And he is a real life superhero. He's an EMT during the day, and he has 5 children in a blended family. And he yet puts on the full Batman gear and goes to the hospitals in his free time and speaks to the children with cancer to put a bright smile on their face. And then he formed a charity to help support his families who need to be there at the hospital, but they still have to pay the bills at home. And so Masked Miracles is a cause that I'm very passionate about.
All right. Well, something else we're passionate about around here is books. So a book not written by you that inspired your personal life or helped you grow your business. Give us a book recommendation.
Kind of falls right in line with the conversation we were just having, and it's called The Networking Disconnect. And
I don't know that one.
And I'm sorry, but the author, I wish I could cite the exact author, but it's co-authored by Dr. Ivan Meisner. And the premise of the book, if you go to a chamber of commerce and you say, who here wants to sell something today? Everybody will raise their hand. If you go to that same chamber of commerce and say, who here came to buy something today? Nobody raises their hand. So stop trying to sell yourself in the public forum. It is, remember the old encyclopedia salesman that would come to your door? You'd close the curtains and hide. The Jehovah's Witnesses come to the door, but some people hide. That's the idea is that nobody wants to sign up for a sales pitch. So don't put yourself in that position, or you're going to be repelling people from you. But instead, show up with the idea that I want to learn about you so that I know when's the right time to refer you. And maybe there's somebody I know I can introduce you to right now who could be a game changer for you. Let's figure that out. And the more you shift to that mentality of being the giver, the laws of attraction kick in, and the more that people are going to be drawn to you. If I want to meet an architect, I don't want you to say, I really, really want to meet him. I'll sound like a telemarketer. Tell the architect that I do 100 projects a year and I need an architect every time, and I could be hiring him. You're doing him a favor. Now the psychology and the dynamic of the initial introduction is they want to meet me. I don't have to chase them down, and there's something in it for them. And they're almost coming to a job interview at that point to see if they're worthy of me sending my referrals their way. But I know that in time, if I send them enough work, I'll motivate them enough that they'll maybe send me back some opportunities too. They're, not every opportunity, just the ones that are the target market and the ones exactly that I'm aiming for.
Well, that was a great book recommendation. Give us the name one more time.
It's called The Networking Disconnect.
And I'll say with love out there that all you telemarketers, it's okay. We all know you need to make a living too. That's all right. Same with you, encyclopedia salesmen. Bring it on. I have a lot of respect for someone who will knock door to door and try to support their family any way they can. And of course, we love and appreciate all people's values and personal beliefs and religions. My grandmother was a Jehovah's Witness, and my father-in-law was Jewish, and we were raised Christian. We have a big blend of all the religions, and
I mean, yeah, and please mean no disrespects. I'm sorry for
we love
poor
you all
examples,
out
maybe.
there. No, that's okay. Sometimes we have to throw a disclaimer.
I apologize. I'm a people person and I love everybody.
That's right. We love you all, but you understand the message, and you've given us so many great pieces of wisdom, Jason, and so many wonderful pieces of advice. Thank you so much for being on our show today. And if you out there would like to be featured on our show, reach out to me and our team, and we'll tell you just how to get featured. Maybe you've written a book. Maybe you have a cause you care about. Maybe you're doing something great in the world. But before we move on, we have two more things to cover with our guest, Jason. Jason, let's talk about the book you wrote. Tell us in more detail where we can find it and really what inspired you to do that.
It's available on Amazon or Kindle, and it's called Constructing Success: Blueprints for a Referral-Based Business. And so while it speaks to any entrepreneur that has relationships over a period of time, we look at it from different perspectives. If you're the air conditioning guy, maybe you install the equipment in one day. If things went wrong, you can fix it the next day. But, is the relationship done and over at that point? Or are you maintaining a relationship that lasts for years and now ultimately turns into other referrals in their next house or their children's homes or their neighbors' homes? It looks at it from the view of a financial planner. You might have a lifetime that you have to maintain this relationship. In my world of construction, we're talking 3 to 6 months is the average relationship with most clients. And when you spend that much time with somebody, you're gonna meet the best and the worst of each other. Everybody has a bad day sometimes, right? And the position that I come from in construction is we provoke the hazard, the danger of this relationship because we're tearing your house apart. It's your prized possession. And there's a lot of decisions to be made. And let's just face it, husbands and wives don't always agree. And so we might have two different behavioral styles, two different languages to speak. We have to kind of be mediators or, marriage counselors along the way because, we got to keep everybody heading down the same path and balancing the idea of a budget versus a want list. So it's a challenging world that we navigate. And I kind of bring in some of the clues and tricks and things we've learned on how to get to the end where you're not going to tell the horror story about the contractor, but instead you're going to say, it was fabulous. Look at what we've created. And, you should do it too. We want those referrals if we want to continue to grow and experience it, the experience that a client has through a process. That's what matters.
Absolutely. So go get that best-selling book on Amazon, Constructing Success: Blueprints for a Referral-Based Business. Don't miss it. Check it out. All right, it's time to go. So before we close today, Jason, can you give us an inspiring thought, some inspiration or information as we go?
Again, I started my first business at the age of 19, a telemarketing room. It was going to be very successful for a year. And then FTC regulations on timeshare companies kind of just blew it out of the water for me. After a 8-year career at corporate America style position, I learned a lot, basically got an MBA on the job. But then I broke away after the federal do not call list was created, and it was kind of toppling that company. And so we had to make cuts top down, and I stepped out and I started the next business. A year of success, and then I start to grow and hire salesmen, and all of a sudden the guy makes a big fat commission, the job cancels, and I'm upside down money, and I'm back to going into employment, and then making that business successful. The owner and I couldn't see eye to eye. It was time to start over again, and I started with nothing. And I will tell you, fail forward, and it's okay to fail, and but pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and learn from that. And those life-changing instances have shaped who I am today. And I learned the things that worked that made the company successful, but I also learned the things that I did not want to do as a leader along the way, the failures of the leaders before me. And so With that, I'd say, every time that you fail, that doesn't mean it's the end. You figure out how you're going to apply that to the future, because after many tries, I've found much success.
All right. After many tries, he's found much success. So the message here is fail forward. All right, Jason, you have been a man of many words and wisdom, and we have been so happy to have you on here and so grateful that you've chosen to share them with us and the Profound Professionals community. This is Jessica Koch, your host, and this has been another Profound Professionals. And until next time, everybody out there, be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. Bye, everybody.